was he a Cebuano? Was he from the Visayas region actually?
Well, first of all, I would like to say that our sources of information on Blessed Pedro Calungsod are the letters, writings of his own companion missionaries in Guam. So he was a native of the Visayas region of the Philippines, but we don't know where exactly the Visayas he comes from. In 1671, if he was about 16 years old at most at that time, the following year, 1672, he might be about 17 years old. Okay. Now, he was an assistant to the mission of the Marianas, meaning to say an all-round assistant. He assists the priest in Mass, he assists in the catechisms, in the baptisms, in preparing the people for baptism. He guides the priest through the jungles. That was his work. He's an all-round assistant when he was a young man.
Okay, what about the life in the Marianas when they arrived? Got this information that life was very hard. And there were a lot of problems and challenges. There were opposition, strong opposition from the locals. So, can you more or less enlighten us on how they more or less lived in the area?
Yes, we are in the 1600s. And Guam is not as developed as now, of course. It was all jungles. In fact, when one had to travel from one part of the island to the other, they preferred not to go through the jungles because it would take time, because it was very thick and there were also cliffs. They would take a bangka or a proa, that's what they call proa. It's like a bangka with only one outrigger.
Okay.
Very, very swift sailing little boat.
I thought it's a raft.
No, it's not a raft. It's called a proa. They would take that one in order to reach the other side. So thick jungles, very steep cliffs, and the provisions were scarce.
Okay, what about Matapang? Because the documents claim that Matapang was wounded. He had a fight with another native, and it was Padre Diego and Pedro who cured him, took care of him. So somehow he was enlightened about the mission's objective, but somehow eventually he had a change of heart.
Yeah, that's very true. He became a Christian. He was baptized a Christian, and he was a friend to the missionaries, and particularly to Father Diego, because he owed his life from Father Diego, who cured him of that wound. When Father Diego approached Matapang, because Father Diego learned that Matapang had a newly born baby, he asked Matapang to present the baby for baptism because Matapang was a Christian. And it was so surprising when Matapang said he does not believe in baptism anymore. He doesn't want his child to be baptized.
Despite that he's now being a Christian.
Yeah, despite that he's being a Christian.
Tinood mo, Monsignor, nga namatay si Pedro because actually ang bangkaw na nakapatay sa iyo was aimed at Padre Diego, but he somehow defended Padre Diego. Iyang gi-shield si Padre Diego, that's why siya nego.
According to the documents, the first one they saw, the first one seen by Matapang and the other one, the accomplice named Hira, it was Pedro. So they started spearing Pedro. And it was also a very wise move because they knew nga pare hakman, di mo nakadagan.
No, dinon.
Ang batanon, mag-iskapo pa na, o makalaban pa gid ba?
Makasukol.
Yeah, makasukol. So, yun na nila utiro. Total, sa yun naman itong usa. Padre Diego could not move, of course, no? So, giduslak na lang ang iyasang dughan, niya
Pero nakahatag pa siya ang solution, Father. Okay.
That is what the documents also say. Although not all the documents, they say that as a good father to everyone, and especially to this companion of his, he must have absolved him at that moment. Yung muna na SOP na nila.
Now that Pedro Calungsod is up for canonization, what do you think would be the impact of his canonization to the Filipinos, particularly the Cebuanos, and the rest of the Visayan-speaking people?
We can consider, first of all, Pedro as a Filipino, and secondly, as a Christian, a Catholic Christian. First, as a Filipino, nakugyong tumog na ito. No? nga na Filipino nga i-recognize as saints. Although it may be a religious matter, but as Colonel Vidal will explain to us, it's not only something religious, it is something national. That is why even our government officials are invited to the occasion, because this is about a Filipino, and in particular a Bisaya.